Hello, in this video, I would like to talk about the philosophy of suffering. Now, a major question in philosophy is Is suffering a necessary part of the human condition? Now, I don't know if it's necessary, but I do know that suffering is, in fact, a part of the human condition. So, whether it is necessary or not is kind of irrelevant. But, nonetheless, I would like to try to answer this question, or at least provide some insights into possible answers to this question. Now, as far as relating suffering to having a severe disability, such as cerebral palsy can be, we should understand that when people talk about the question, is suffering a necessary condition of the human experience, we should understand that most of the time, those people are not talking about long term suffering. They're talking about suffering that occurs for what I would like to refer to as a relatively short or medium term. Now, they may say that if you have cancer, you suffer, and that is true. Or if you have dementia as you get older, that is a form of suffering. That is also true. But in both the cases of cancer and dementia, for the most part, the people that suffer from those illnesses do not do so their entire lives. For the most part, they would have had a life that was largely free of those debilitating illnesses and the pains associated with them. Now, if somebody has cerebral palsy, their pain level may not be extremely high all the time, but they are in fact suffering for their entire life, whether you want to actually call it suffering or not. I will go as far as to call it suffering because, to be honest, that is what it is. Now, if we get back to the question of is suffering necessary? If we want to talk about suffering as a temporary ailment, then I would say, sure, suffering may not be necessary, but it does teach us great lessons we can learn that we can carry on through life. But if we refer to suffering as something that goes on for your entire life, then I would argue suffering is both not necessary, but it is immoral. It is immoral or immoral. Now, I say this because although you may learn lessons from the suffering that you are undergoing, the lessons you learn do not have to be learned through suffering, and they do not outweigh the cost and the horrors of your suffering. And for anyone to actually take seriously the question of is suffering a necessary condition of the human existence and not actually understand the full weight of suffering is really truly foolish. if anyone is going to answer that question, it should not be a normal person. They should not be the ones to offer their thoughts and opinions on this matter. The only people that should have a valid opinion of this matter are people that are truly disabled and truly suffer very long term effects from their relatively constant suffering. And for anyone to suggest otherwise shows a lack of knowledge and understanding of what true suffering is.